Welcome to Light Her Up, your go-to podcast for exploring what it means to align with your passions and create a life filled with freedom, ease, and fulfillment. I'm your host, Natalie Bernacchi, a mom, entrepreneur, and certified coach who left a 15-year corporate career to build a life aligned with my passions and help other women do the same. We'll be diving deep into topics like self-discovery, mindset shifts, and the courage to pursue the life you've always dreamed of. Thank you for being here and for prioritizing yourself. I'm honored to be a part of your journey. If you're ready to find your joy, reclaim your identity, and upgrade your life, you're in the right place. Now let's light it up. Hello, my loves, and welcome back to the Light Her Up podcast. Today's episode is a really personal one. I'm taking you behind the scenes of a season I recently walked through, and I did come out on the other side great, but it was one that was a really tough season. It's where I found myself in a really big funk, also known as depression, but I didn't realize it right away. On the outside, I was functioning, I was working, I was parenting, I was doing life. But on the inside, I felt really off. And as it turns out, my body had been asking for help long before I was willing to slow down and listen. So if you've been feeling off, unmotivated, or simply just not like yourself, but you're still going through the motions, then this episode is for you. Now, before we dive in, I want to let you know that the Mamapreneur Mastermind waitlist is officially open. So if you're a purpose-driven mama building a business, this space was truly made for you. It's for the women who want to grow, not grind. It's for the women who are ready to build a business that aligns with who they are, not who they think they should be. And this is where strategy meets deep mindset work, where clarity, confidence, and connection come together so you can expand in ways that feel so grounded, so aligned, and just really, really good. It's been such a fulfilling journey for my business partner, Emily, and me. We've poured our hearts into curating a space that is absolute magic. In fact, both of our mastermind launches sold out a month early before we officially even opened the doors. Some of the mamas inside the space have called it transformational, magical, and the best thing they've done for themselves to finally get their business off of the ground. And now we've got both virtual and in-person options, and you can join the waitlist today using the link in the show notes. All right, now let's get into today's episode. So let me take you back to about 6 months ago. Really wasn't that long ago. I was loving life. I had just made this enormous decision to leave my full-time career. This was over 15 years in the corporate world, and I was thrilled. I was excited. It felt so liberating and so empowering. But what I didn't realize in the moment was that I was also grieving. I was grieving a version of me that I was letting go. That career had been such a big part of my identity, and while I was ready to step into something new, I hadn't given myself permission to mourn what I was releasing. Even though it was hands down the right decision, there was still unprocessed grief, and unprocessed grief always finds a way to surface. I thought that I was just shifting gears, but in reality, I was feeling off in ways I couldn't name, I couldn't pinpoint. I had all of this new freedom, which sounds incredible, but it threw off my rhythm. I am such a structured person, very routine in almost everything I do. I'd been waking up at 4:30 a.m. for years. I would get up, go to the gym, take a shower, go to work all day, pick up the kids, and that was like my routine every single day, like clockwork. So when I didn't have someone to work for, I was like, well, I guess I don't have to go to the gym so early. And I would allow myself to sleep in until about 7 a.m. But then I was getting woken up from my kids. And I describe it like whiplash. It was whiplash into the day. So then I was starting my day off super reactive. And then I let the day run me. And before I knew it, it was like 4 p.m., time to pick up the kids from school. And I hadn't gotten a workout in. I started saying things like, maybe I'm just tired. Maybe it's my ADD getting worse. Maybe I just need to adjust because this is just entrepreneurship. But what was actually happening is that my body was sending me red flags. Even though I was passionate about this new chapter, I hadn't acknowledged the emotional weight of letting go of something that shaped me for so long. For over 15 years, I had been doing the same thing over and over, and I worked really hard to get where I was. So when I finally left and I put that chapter behind me, I was minimizing that grief and I kept pushing forward. But of course, my body didn't forget. I've always been someone who moves, who meditates, who fuels her body and soul intentionally. I am one of those people that exercises religiously every day, never missing a workout. We'd be on girls' trips, and I'd be the crazy woman out there on a run, starting my day while mostly all of my friends were having a mimosa to start the day. And I was working out. And now I wasn't working out. I was just allowing myself to take a break, but it wasn't, just a real break. It was a break that turned into many days where most of the time I just truly wasn't motivated to work out. So I stopped. Not on purpose, it just slipped. Those rituals weren't wellness habits, they were foundations that actually kept me grounded. I also felt so unorganized and not able to focus. This was the real thing that drove me to reach out to my therapist again. I was so unorganized and so not able to focus that I thought my ADD was getting intensified for some reason. I was literally not able to focus. I was constantly switching tasks, forgetting everything. And the worst part was I could feel it and I could see it. And I just remember thinking constantly, what is wrong with me? I felt so busy and so all over the place. I was forgetting to eat. I wasn't nourishing my body. My sleep was off. I was going to bed late and then I'd wake up late. It was like a whole cycle. And I remember constantly saying, yeah, I know I feel off, but it'll be soon enough before I have my rhythm and my flow. And then months passed and my business was changing left and right, all really good, amazing things, but good stress is still stress. So I wasn't listening to my body when I was feeling tired or foggy, or even when I felt disconnected from my spark. And yet I was still going through the motions, still showing up for my kids, for work, for my clients. And then I had a session with my therapist. And I was describing how I was feeling, that my anxiety was through the roof. And I thought that it had to do with my ADD being heightened and not me being able to focus, which was causing more anxiety. I was expecting her to confirm that my ADD was in fact causing my anxiety to skyrocket. And instead, she said, Natalie, those are signs of depression. She said, being lethargic, not wanting to get out of bed in the morning, depression, not wanting to move your body or work out, depression, decreased appetite, depression, high anxiety, depression. Yes, anxiety can be a sign of depression. I actually didn't know that. These are all signs of depression. Not taking care of yourself, that's depression. And I truly froze because I hadn't labeled it that way. I had bypassed it and I was just minimizing it, almost just completely ignoring it. But deep down, I knew she was right. And I've been through depression before, about 3 or 4 years ago. And at that time, it was so different. When I was depressed 3 or 4 years ago, I truly felt like what you would think depression was. I felt numb, joyless, really, truly, deeply unhappy. But this time, I was happy. I was experiencing joy. I was so excited about my business. And I was also receiving signs from my body that something was off. And that contrast really made it so much more challenging to see. It wasn't the same kind of depression, and that made it really sneaky. So, what did I do to get help? I didn't try to fix it all at once. Instead, I started small. And I want to be really honest with you. I also decided to go on medication. At first, I felt ashamed of that decision because there are still so many negative connotations around it. But ultimately, I made an empowered choice to do what was best for me. It's not something I want to be on forever. I'm aware of the side effects and I'm really mindful of that, but I'm also human. And the relief it brought me helped me feel so much more like myself again. And I'm proud of myself for listening and doing what I needed to support my healing. So I started with small goals and built from there, getting back to my morning routine, waking up every day at 4:30 a.m. And I chose that time not because I think you need to get up at 4:30 a.m. to be productive, but because I personally loved how I felt when I was waking up at 4:30 a.m. I remember feeling like I was able to have so much accomplished, so much before the entire world and my kids woke up. I was able to have my quiet time and start the day out proactive in the quiet before the day gets the best of me. And it's also when my brain is firing on all cylinders. So I'm creative during that time. I also have so much energy. So I love to get my workout and my movement in to start my day. I also started to check in with my inner child daily. I'd ask her, "What do you need today? How can I take care of you? What would feel safe and supportive for you?" I also raised my hand and reached out for help. I started seeing my therapist again regularly. And by the way, if you're in California and you need a therapist, DM me. I've got a really amazing one. I had open, honest conversations with my husband and close friends. And honestly, the relief I felt just from letting them in and telling them was incredible. I realized I had been moving full speed in my business, and it's something I love. And I hadn't let anyone in, and I was holding it all, and it was time to let that go. So, a couple of points that I would love to just remind you of and bring to your awareness, because these were things that I wasn't aware of until after the realization that I had been going through depression. So, the first point is that the body speaks before the mind catches up. Our bodies are really wise. They store everything from your entire life. There's that book, The Body Keeps the Score, and it's so true. Before my mind knew what was going on, my body was already waving the red flags. I was skipping movement. I was exhausted even after sleeping. I wasn't craving the things that normally lit me up. I wasn't me. I wasn't doing the things that were innately me. So often we wait until we're so burnt out or breaking down before we pause. But if you look back, your body is usually showing you signs well before it gets to that point. So if your body's asking you to rest, to slow down, to feel, to do anything, just listen to it. Point number 2, high functioning doesn't mean you're fine. And this one hit hard. Just because you're doing all the things doesn't mean you're okay. I was still running a business, still packing lunches, still being there for everyone. But I felt like something was off. And it's one of those things that's so hard to describe and place a tangible description to. You just know that something's off. I think for me, it was mostly the lack of being able to focus and just feeling like I wasn't as sharp as I normally was. And when we're used to pushing through, like I was, certainly, we can miss the early signs that something deeper is going on. So check in with yourself every day. Are you really okay? Are you just operating on autopilot? And the third point, there's no shame in needing help. So after that conversation with my therapist, I cried. I cried, obviously, on the phone with her and after, but not because I was ashamed, but because I finally felt seen by myself. I realized how long I had been suppressing that and just pushing through and not addressing what my body had been telling me. So I finally, at that time, saw myself. And that was the moment that I realized that I could take the control to change, to get back on track, to start taking care of myself the way that I love to. So please remember, if there's anything you take away from today's episode, that your body is really wise and it often asks for your help well before your mind is ready to admit it. Just because you're functioning does not mean you're thriving. And there is no weakness in needing support. You're not broken. You're not behind. You're human. So if this episode resonated with you, I would love to hear from you. Send me a DM and let me know what part landed with you the most. And if you're craving deeper connection, clarity, and aligned action as a mama in business, make sure you get on the Mamapreneur Mastermind waitlist. Whether you're just getting started or you're ready to expand, this is a space for you. We've got both virtual and in-person options coming, and it's truly a game changer. The link is in the show notes. So thank you for being here. Keep listening to your body, keep trusting your timing, and I will catch you on the next episode. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Light Her Up. I hope you're feeling inspired and ready to take steps towards a life better than you ever dreamed. I see you, I hear you, and I'm so proud of you for showing up and prioritizing your journey. When you fill up your cup with love, you can pour so much more into the people and passions that matter to you most. If this episode resonated with you, I'd be so grateful if you subscribed, left a review, and shared it with someone who could use a little extra light. For more, connect with me on Instagram at The Light Within Collective. I'm sending you my love, and I'll catch you on the next episode.